Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Neil, our wonderful board chair at JQ International, for those beautiful sounds and welcoming this really, really gorgeous evening. Thank you everyone again for joining us. My name is Arya Marvazi, and I'm the managing director here at JQ International. I am so eager to say Shabbat Shalom, Happy Pride, and Happy Juneteenth, everyone. Wow. Wow. What a blessing and an honor and a privilege to be together on this most special evening, an evening that resembles the most powerful intersection of our Jewish traditions, our queer and ally identities, and our communal responsibility to create a more racially just and equitable world for all. Wherever you are in the world, we are so grateful and excited to be welcoming you to our JQ Pride Shabbat 2020 experience. Woo-hoo, yay! Tonight, we will collectively welcome Shabbat, the Jewish day of rest, reflection, and rejuvenation together. Tonight, we will celebrate our Pride and Pride Month, our colorful identities, and our LGBTQ community together. And tonight, we will reflect on the commemoration of Juneteenth, on our collective Jewish responsibility to letaken ha'olam, repair the world to a more whole and just place together. And all of this will be done through the voices of our beautifully diverse and inspiring J community. Tonight, over 15 speakers will each share from heart, soul, and experience to create our journey together. As many of you now know, today is Juneteenth. It is the oldest national holiday commemorating emancipation from slavery in the United States. While the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect on January 1st, 1863, it wasn't until 2 years later, June 19th, 1865, 155 years ago to this day, that enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, finally learned that they were free. This day became known as Juneteenth, a day to reconnect with lost family members and define values of racial equality and empowerment for future generations. This day celebrates Black freedom and recognizes the ongoing struggle against systemic racism that persists in America today. Tonight, JQ is eager to join a growing collective of activists, organizations, and communities in affirming the dignity of Black lives and calling for an end to structural racism. More importantly than these words, of course, is our organization's commitment to action. Over the coming days, months, and years, JQ commits to the time, education, allocation of resources necessary to make our organization truly inclusive, affirming of racial justice and equity, and centering the voices, stories, lives, and identities of all queer Jews of color, and especially our Black LGBTQ and allied Jewish community. This work is certainly long overdue, and we are committed with full heart and intention to lean into this for the long haul. So we invite you to join us. Join us as we light our Shabbat candles and bring in the much needed rest that coronavirus couldn't care less to give us. Join us to raise our rainbow flags high with love and pride as we celebrate the strength, beauty, and accomplishments of our queer community, and especially, of course, the Supreme Court decision Monday to protect our rights in the workplace. Woohoo! And join us as we hear about our Jewish responsibility, our queer responsibility, and our human responsibility to ensure that racial justice is an imperative for us all. Black queer lives matter, Black trans lives matter, and all Black lives matter today and forever. For those of you who have them with you, we ask you to please open up your JQ One Table Pride Shabbat guides. For those who don't have those guides with you, in the chat, you will see a PDF link to this document. And I'd love if everyone could open it just to that first page. We're gonna look at the Twilight Prayer, and I invite you to read it at home as I read it for you here from our J Club in West Hollywood. Twilight People Prayer. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight, For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles, at the intersection of histories, or between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither, and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our visions. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. Rabbi Reuben Zellman. And now I am honored and grateful to introduce the visionary behind JQ International, proud activist and the man who founded our organization, my dear friend, the executive director of JQ, Asher Gellis, coming to us all the way from Laramie, Wyoming. Asher, thank you so much for everything.
Yeehaw. Thank you. Thank you, Arya. Welcome, everyone. I am so thrilled to see all the many souls who've joined us from around the globe. For those of you with our Pride book, you'll find a poem entitled Love Wins, a Pride prayer by Alden Solovey, a liturgist, poet, and a teacher. It's a compelling poem of the power we have to heal and love, and the hope that one day love will triumph over fear, hate, racism, homophobia, transphobia, and all forms of discrimination. A future I think we can all look forward to. I'm honored to share it with you now. One day, the words coming out will sound strange. Oppression based on gender orientation will be a memory, history to honor and remember, the pain of hiding, repressing, denying, honoring the triumphs of those who fought to be free, remembering the violence and vitriol that cost lives. When love wins at long last. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. This will be as natural as breathing. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. One day love will win every heart. Love will win every soul. Fear will vanish like smoke, and tenderness for all will fill our hearts. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love wins. In the end, love wins. Man for man, woman for woman, woman for man for woman. All genders, all orientations, all true expressions of heart. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Let this come speedily in our day, a tribute to the many and the diverse gifts from heaven, a tribute to love deep and true, each of us for one another. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We hope that this evening we can all suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. I'd like to express gratitude to the many individuals and partner organizations who made tonight and our entire Pride Month possible. First, a full-hearted thank you to the ROI Community Grassroots Events Program, a Schusterman initiative. Without them, this evening's event would not be possible. A thank you to our friends at Challah Hub for their delicious fresh-baked rainbow sprinkled challah. Our partners at One Table helped us create our Pride Shabbat guides, now entering their third year in use around the world. Our amazing professional team and committed board of governors who've made a whole year of transformative programming and life-saving services possible. A thank you to our programmatic partners, the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles and their New Roots Young Adult Engagement Initiative, our friends at JDC Entwine, At the Well, and Moving Traditions. A hearty thank you to all our Pride sponsors who, with their generous contributions, made an entire month of Pride Initiative possible here at JQ. And of course, a thank you to all of our speakers tonight who are bringing this magical Pride Shabbat moment to life in real time. I now have the honor and privilege of introducing my friends Shauna and Beck G. Cohen. Shauna and Beck are joining us tonight from North Hollywood. Beck is a trans activist and the director of LGBTQ programming for a treatment center in Los Angeles. Shauna is a queer femme who works in nonprofit fundraising. Shauna and Beck, thank you very much for sharing your reflections and leading us in our candle lighting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Juneteenth Sameach. So we were so excited to be part of this program. And as we literally transition into Shabbat, we thought that we'd share some reflections about transition since we are not strangers to transitioning. In our relationship and in our life, I once had a Catholic wife or a Catholic girlfriend who's now my Jewish husband.
It's a lot of transition.
And through that, I think we've learned a lot about having grace for yourself and especially deep empathy for all the folks that are around you and touch you and are able to support you along the way. So before we light the candles, we actually just wanted to share a prayer that has helped us through many transitions in our life. And I'm going to read the Hebrew, and then Becca's going to read the English. Okay, so the prayer is, and we're just going to do this one, and you may be familiar with it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Praised are you, God, who created the world, who grants us life, who sustains us, and who has brought us to arrive at this moment.
So here we are, transitioning into Shabbat, and we are going to light the candles, these gorgeous candles. And I am going to light them, and I'm going to sing the prayer. And you can also follow along with the prayer in the next page of the One Table and JQ Pride Shabbat booklet. These are trick matches.
We do this together. We do this together, everyone.
Becca's gonna light the candle. Okay.
Here we go. Go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Juneteenth Sameach.
Beck and Shauna, thank you so much, both for your beautiful words and sentiments, and of course for bringing in candlelighting with us. The next person, well, everyone on this call is quite dear to all of our hearts here at JQ, but I am so proud and honored to welcome Joshua Avishur, trans-masculine Orthodox Jew, proud parent of 4 beautiful children, and lay leader for JQ's LA Orthodox group for our Kiddush. Joshua, thank you so much again for being with us.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Joshua. Okay, and now we are going to move on to our wonderful co-chair of JQ's board and executive director of the Silver Lake Independent Jewish Community Center, also a UCSD alumni Triton that I got to meet on campus back in the days. Neil, thank you for your leadership and all of your incredible and generous contributions to JQ over the past 10 plus years. We're so grateful to have you with us to do our challah. Hamotzi.
Thank you. Thank you, Arya. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I am so excited to be with you here on this very, very special Pride Shabbat. It's a very strange time in the world to be gathering in this kind of way. There's a lot of grief in our community. Grief over not having our normal routines, over not having to, being able to do the very basic things like go out to eat or go to the supermarket in the way that we once might have. There's grief over the way that our systems in this country, our political and cultural systems oppress people. There's grief in my own complicity in those systems, my own need to better educate myself and be a better ally and advocate. And at the same time, our tradition has very clear guidelines about what to do with grief. And one of the things that our Jewish tradition offers is that during Shabbat, even if you're in mourning, there's an invitation to step out of mourning and enter into joy and into love. It is with that I want to invite us to experience joy and to imagine what the world could be over this next day as we enter this Pride Shabbat, rather than what the world is right now. So if it's okay, I'd like to sing a little song with you. It's Olam Chesed Yibaneh. It's a song about love. It's a song that I've also heard sung in many different marches and protests and organizing that we do. So Anna, if it's possible to drop the lyrics in the chat for folks, I invite you to sing along at home on mute once you catch on. This is about building the world with loving kindness, pure, deep love. Olam chesed yibaneh, yanana, yana, yanana, Olam chesed yibaneh, yanana, yana, yanana. Olam chesed yibaneh, yanana, yana, yanana. Olam chesed yibaneh, yanana, yana, yanana. I will build this world from love, yanana, yana, yanana. And you will build this world from love, yanana, yana, yanana. And if we build this world from love, yanana, yana, yanana. Then God will build this world from love, yanana, yana, yanana. Olam chesed yibaneh, 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 yanana, yana, yanana. So it's with the spirit of joy, the spirit of love, the spirit of possibility that I invite us to move now to breaking bread together with motzi. And so if you have your Pride booklet, it's right in the middle here. And I'm going to invite you, if you have a challah at home, I happen to have this beautiful challah hub, gorgeous rainbow challah. Thank you, Challah Hub, for this. And I invite you to join me as we give gratitude for nourishment, for the earth that brings forth this bread. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed is the oneness that brings forth bread from the earth. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Neil, thank you so very much for that beautiful music. And of course, welcoming us to begin our eating this evening. Everyone, oh, thank you, Anna, my dear friend. With apologies, I want to hop back quickly to my dear friend Joshua to share a few words besides the Kiddush. Joshua, the floor is yours. Thank you so much again for being with us.
Sorry about that earlier. All right, so just quickly, I am a trans Orthodox guy living in the Valley, woohoo, yay. JQ has been particularly instrumental in helping me and a few of my other LGBTQ Orthodox friends build a community that really did not exist before. We are not necessarily allowed in many of the Orthodox spaces around here. We're not accepted. And then there's JQ, and not only are we accepted and loved for exactly who we are embraced and encouraged to continue to build this community. I love that we're celebrating love and acceptance today, especially on Juneteenth, because we're all human beings and we all deserve love and acceptance. I just want to wish all of you that God, Hashem, blesses you, all of you, for all of your love and your devotion, for all of your sacrifices, for all the pain and suffering, for your hope, for your enduring passion and excitement, and that you continue to be shining lights onto the nation. Thank you all.
Joshua, thank you so much again for your beautiful words and truly for your leadership of our Orthodox LGBTQ group. For anyone who might be interested or knows someone in their life that might be, they gather monthly, currently online, but God willing, soon enough, back in person, and you can get in touch with us to join that group. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce Jordan Daniels. And before I give you any sort of one-line summary, I should mention that Jordan and I crossed paths for over a year, just wanting to engage about Jewish queer activism and his own sort of building of a queer Moishe house in San Diego. I think, Jordan, your energy precedes you in so many ways. If you haven't yet caught it, Jordan wrote a gorgeous article in the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, the JTA, about being an accomplice and how that's different from allyship, and I do highly recommend it. Jordan identifies as a queer Afro-Jew, writing and speaking about body liberation, fashion, queer experiences, Jewish life, and Blackness. And after Jordan shares some words this evening, we will actually do a breakout where we will be randomly put together in groups to have a small discussion about what Jordan shares with us this evening. Shabbat Shalom, Jordan, and thank you so much again for being with us.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for having me. And Hag Juneteenth Sameach, as Shana said. Thank you. I never thought of saying that. So I'm like so like full of light hearing that, and I feel liberating to say that myself. So thank you for that language. And I am just so honored and thrilled to be here. I have a full circle moment. I have worked with JQ before when I was much younger. So it's like amazing now to be in this capacity and to be seeing people that I've known before and to be up with Ari after so long. After this, I'm like, if we're not friends, I'll be very mad. So we gotta be friends. I did a little eyeshadow moment here, but I was mad because I realized that I have to wear glasses, so you can't see it. I want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay first. I see someone ask if they can raise my mic. Does everyone hear me okay? Can I get a little thumbs up? Perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to begin with a little bit of a story, and then we're going to talk about moving into action between allyship and accompliceness and what that means. I want to begin by saying I grew up in East Bay area, born and raised, moved out to San Diego when I was 18, moved to Long Beach for a few years, and then moved back to San Diego. Now I'm living in the city of San Diego doing a queer Moishe pod, which means that me and my co-conspirator, we build intersectional queer Jewish life. We identify as Black and Jewish, they identify as Indigenous and Jewish, so we are trying to really hold by POC experiences as well with a Jewish lens and a queer lens, which is really exciting, a little bit intense sometimes because we have to challenge ourselves, like, how can we do this? Can we do this? And we are. And so I want to begin by saying that I live at the intersection of fluidity and ambiguity. What I mean by that is that my identities hold different experiences and they allow me to move between different worlds, but yet I don't always feel like I belong. And I imagine that in a space that's so queer, I imagine people experience that as well, the feeling of unbelonging. So when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I went to temple a few times with my mother, who is Jewish. And whenever I went, there's always a question of how can I exist? And it was interesting because I am lighter skin, but my hair is a bit different, and there's always something that was ambiguous about me. Where is your child from? Is this your child? My mom would say, my son is Black and Jewish, and they would say, how is that possible? On the playground at school, I would often be questioned of how I was Black. When my father would come pick me up from school, they would say, is he your caretaker? Is he your grandpa? To which I would say, no, it's my dad, and they would say, how do you know he's your father? So in two instances, I already became othered in multiple ways. I became othered in the Jewish community and othered in the community of my peers. In the Black community, which I grew up with imbued with so much Black culture, I was often questioning my Blackness as well. How can you be Black and so light? Your mom is so white-skinned. Are you sure that's your father? By my hair, they knew that, okay, you could be mixed with something, but it was never enough to fit in. With the white folks around me, it was always, your hair is too different, you talk a little bit too differently, and you aren't white. You are somewhat with us, but you are not with us and you will not be at our table. Obviously, no one said that because that was the language of fourth graders, but it was a very much feeling of I do not belong here still. As also, my identity is a person of size, so I identify as fat, which is like one of my favorite identities, and within that identity as well, it is a stereotype that you're not picked for gym activities. You are taught to be devalued of sexuality, and that you do not hold value as a person. So by body, by Blackness, and by Jewishness, I continue to be other. My queerness, which is one of my favorite parts about me as a human being, is also a sign of otherness. I remember particularly there was this one girl in my high school. We had lunch together every day in our group of friends. There was 6 of us. Whenever I talked about something that came off gay to her, she'd always just say, "You're really gay. You're so gay. I can't believe how gay you are." And at that point, at 12, I don't really know what that language is, but I know that it was hurtful. I couldn't say what it really truly meant, but I know that it wasn't meant to be good the way she was saying it. Yet another experience of otherness. So when I say ambiguity, I mean because I don't fit into something, and yet I feel like now I fit into everything, and that's a power that I have moved into. And fluidity because I'm not necessarily passing, but I can walk the line of sometimes everything. Now I can walk the line with my queerness into different spaces because I'm able to wield it in a powerful way. I walk the line of my Blackness because I wield it in a powerful way. I walk the line of my Jewishness because I wield it in a powerful way. So when I say I live in the intersection of fluidity and ambiguity, that is what I mean. Still, knowing that I wield this power to transmute myself and fit into places that weren't made for me, I still had this feeling of unbelonging inside myself. I wasn't sure really how to move authentically with that feeling. It wasn't until university that I really began to experience that my otherness was my power, that there was beauty and strength in my otherness, that it was because I was unbelonging that I belonged wherever I went to. I can make myself belong wherever I go. And people, now I was with one person. I literally just finished yesterday my Ben the Axella cohort program, which was amazing experience. Thank you. I see a little hand raised. Thank you. And one of the people in there had said that my energy, when I come into a room, I say, "This is who I am, and you're gonna love me." And that has scared me a lot because I move through the world thinking, who is going to love me for who I am? And to hear from someone that I have the power to walk in a space and say, "You're going to love me," to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, how amazing I can wield my otherness to say, "You're going to love the otherness, and I don't give a damn what you think about it." And I say that also, I say that to all of us. I want us to really think about, as we think about where our identities intersect and how we felt othered, how we can wield that to remind ourselves that we belong anywhere we want to belong. Now, all this to say, how did this lead me into my spirit of activism and allyship, and I would say accompliceness, if people have read the article by chance at all? In university, that's where I really began to develop a social justice framework. Oh, I'm seeing a little blurry here. You know, I'm blurred. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Okay, no, I work with the blurs because I belong here with the blur. That's what Hashem said from right now. I belong with the blur. So let's go. So, so I developed my social justice framework in school. I went to California State University, Long Beach. Fabulous blur. Thank you. And belong with the blur hashtags. I live for it. So that's where I developed what justice looked like for me. I wrote the paper. I worked for 2 papers, actually. I was the opinions editor of one paper, and I was a staff writer for another paper. My degree was in journalism with an emphasis in public relations. So I knew that my life would be around storytelling, that my work would lead to tell stories. And I thought How can I tell stories that aren't heard? How can I tell stories of those that don't belong? And that's what, yes, go Beach. Come on, Deb, Yoni, and Sandy, go Beach, yes. And that is how I moved from my place of unknowingness into, oh, I want to do activism. And I will say that I began my activist work as an ally. An ally to me is somebody who will talk about the struggle, who maybe empathize with the struggle, who may have their own struggles as well. And the allyship looked like going to the protest and snapping a picture of myself at the protest showing that I was down for it. It looked like me talking about Black justice and queer justice with my friends and family. And it looked like challenging my own perspectives with myself and who I was and what I thought about the world around me. As I've grown out of university and grown into my professional life, I've seen that allyship has no longer been enough to actually cause change. And that's where I began to move into accompliceness. And that also came from the fact that I work for a Jewish organization where justice is inherent to our values. And now I have moved to a place where I am more of a minority than before. San Diego, which is a beautiful place, I think is a lot of white folk and not a lot of diversity, which is strange for me because in the Bay Area, I grew up with every other house had a different culture living there. So I grew up really having this like mindset of what true diversity looked like and belonging and unbelonging way, because we all knew we were different, but never meant that we were above or below each other. And here that became more apparent to me. And I realized that I hold a lot of privilege in myself. Am I fat? Yes. Am I queer? Yes. Am I Black? Yes. Am I Jewish? Yes. And am I all of those things at once or two of those things at once? Yes. And those are identities that are stratified in society and don't hold a lot of privilege. However, I am also light-skinned and I'm also a male. So I am conscious of the privilege that I have. I am one of 7 children. I'm on my dad's side. I am one of the lightest ones in skin tone. And I know that if I'm stopped by a police officer, I most likely will just get a warning. I may get harassed, and I've been harassed before, but I will not get hurt. I will not get shot, and I will not get a knee on my neck. And I'm a little bit emotional saying that because that has been experiences that happened to my own brother, who is also queer and who I love so much, as one of my best friends in life. And I realized in that moment when I have heard of his police brutality, that it is my duty to wield my privilege in a way that can shield, protect, and dismantle. Shield him, protect him, and dismantle with him. And that was when I realized I need to do more than allyship. I need to move into accompliceness. And so accompliceness is this mode of saying that I will dismantle with you. An ally will say, I will speak about it with you. I will talk about it to my friends. I may show up to the protest, but it doesn't mean that I will throw myself in front of the police for you. An accomplice will throw themselves in front of the police for someone who is Black. They will actively try to invoke policy in their community or in their government. They will call out their friends and family. And I have been that person at the Thanksgiving and Passover table to call out friends and family. Almost every year I'm that person. And I know that is my privilege that I am there, and I have to wield that in a way that says, how will I be accomplice people that don't have the privilege that I wield, and how can I wield that privilege to protect them? So that is a large framework in this moment. I usually love an interaction moment, and the Zoom part's always like threw me off a bit. So I hope that I didn't bore you too much of the story, but I do want to move us into speaking about action together as well, which Ari did mention that we will do some breakout rooms. I'd love to call that in now. Ari, would you mind taking it away?
Absolutely. Jordan, I just want to share with you immense gratitude and a real sense that the way that you embody your intersecting identities is one of the most hopeful and impassioned opportunities for other people to experience what equality looks like and what the celebration of diversity looks like. So thank you so much for not only being a part of the JQ community and JQ world, but for everything that you do outside of it to uplift justice in every which way that you possibly can. Our program director, Anna, now is going to shoot some questions into the chat box, and then you're going to be broken up into small groups of 5, and you'll have 10 minutes actually to meet people from around the world that are on our Pride Shabbat call and discuss some of these questions of where do we step into our allyship or potentially being an accomplice? So Jordan, thank you again for inspiring that. And you can expect to be broken up into Zoom small groups, and then you'll get a 1-minute warning when we're going to come back to our full gathering again.
One moment.
Just a moment as well. Please do indulge in your challah and your grape juice and any other deliciousness.
I just want to say I'm jealous that Ayal getting some challah and some grape juice because I live so far to get it, and I'm like, I ain't got no sprinkles, I ain't got no wine, like I just got this little headpiece.
Your challah is frozen in the JQ fridge, and your packet is coming. All right.
Okay, ready? 3, 2.
We'll see you all in 10 minutes. Welcome back. Hello, everyone. It'll take just about a minute for everybody. The rooms are forced closed
35 seconds.
in 30 seconds, but everybody will join us back. Shalom, Eli. Shalom, Empress, Deborah, Trudy, Jennifer, Kumi. Hello, everyone. I'll wait until we get maybe at least half of the group back.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people
I
talking.
think people are just enjoying every last second of connecting. In future gatherings, especially as we consider the month of, pending how things evolve with coronavirus and our capacity to gather in person, when we think about future JQ events, especially online, the opportunity to connect for even extended periods of time and small group breakouts is something we're definitely considering. All right, I think most of us are back. I want to just let everyone know that we are both just a little bit more than halfway done with this evening, but there is a lot of great stuff coming. I want to give Jordan the opportunity to close his section. So we're going to put the spotlight back on Jordan.
I'll find him.
Thank you so much.
I'll find you, Jordan.
I'm side by side with my wonderful coworker, Anna here.
Hello. Jordan, where are you?
Oh,
Can
hi.
you find me now?
There we go.
Did you
Have
find
a
me?
unicorn horn on me this time?
No, we can hear him though.
I hear you, but I can't see you.
How odd. Actually, I can't see him either.
Oh, there he is. I got it.
Great. Jordan, June, please.
Thank you. Little costume change moment real quick. I want to just say thank you to everyone who listened, and I really hope that has moved you. And yes, I got some change. I hope that moves you in some capacity. I realize I may not have left anybody with actionable, so I do want to provide that one actionable is to speak. Use your voice. We all have the power of voice in this moment, whether it is textual or verbal. And I want to implore all of us to use that voice that makes us really beautiful and powerful. Oh my God. Oh no, I realize the Jews are born stereotype. Take it off now. That is embarrassing. And I feel like I've portrayed a stereotype so bad. See, and so also acknowledge that everyone can be problematic to some extent, and we are constantly on a continuum of work and change with each other. I also want to leave just with one note that I live by and the quote by Audre Lorde, who was a Black queer feminist, and is in her poem A Litany for Survival. And she just implores everyone by saying, so it is better to speak, remembering that we were never meant to survive. And I want to just leave that with you, because we all have agency and power to use our voice, and this world wasn't made for us, so let's do the best we can to make it a better world and a more just world, a more colorful world, a more beautiful world. Thank you so much.
Jordan, thank you so much again. I know that we can't clap audibly, but we are giving you our spirit fingers and love. And please, of course, everyone else, either if you want to share in the chat some gratitude to Jordan, or even one thing that came up for you in the chats that you'd like to share with a larger group, those are beautiful and can go inside the chat to be flowing along with us. So we're going to move along. Again, we're just over halfway there, but we've got a lot of great speakers and content coming up, so please stay with us. It is my honor and my pleasure to introduce the individual who basically makes JQ run, our incredible program director.
I don't know which one I should speak in.
Yeah, it's up to you, really. Anna Goodman, the director
you.
of programming at JQ and director of our team JQSA, also is the director of everything in the sphere of social media, marketing, our website, our flyers. The reason why this looks as beautiful as it does is because of this incredible and creative individual. So Anna, thank you so much for everything. And
Thanks, Arya.
shalom.
I'm super happy to be here and be next to Arya, who I hadn't seen in, 2 months prior to this, which is, it was hard being away from my JQ family. I'm actually coming up on 5 years at this organization, if you weren't aware. So in September, 5 years at JQ International, and it's been like such an incredible journey. Such an incredible journey, and like the longest job I've ever had also. So, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love the work I do. I love the programming. And as a proud queer Jew, it just warms my heart to be able to do this for our community. I also want to talk about our Teen JQSA, which I'm also the director of. And it's funny that I went after Jordan, because Jordan and I met 3 years ago when I had asked him to do a program with our queer teens. So Yoni, I don't know who I'll be introducing shortly, you were actually at that event, and we had Jordan come, and we were at a congregation, Orami, and Jordan did a program on body positivity with the queer teens, and it was really beautiful. And we've both grown and changed so much, and so is our program. So I'm happy to be working with him again and to be representing JQ. But yeah, I think I don't need to say much. I'm just so happy that everyone is enjoying their Pride Shabbat kits and here together. This is the largest Zoom I've ever been on, and it's going really well. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. I've known them for quite a while now. They are a Jewish LGBTQ activist, a non-professional comedian, a fabulous drag queen, queer icon, and lover of smiles. Let's give it up for Yoni Colin.
Yay!
Did you seriously just be Colin? Girl, you know it's Colin. Come on.
Colin. It's my Midwestern accent. Wait, well, let's spotlight you. 1 second, Yoni. We need to. Everyone got mixed around when we did the breakout group, so I just want to make sure we can find you.
And waiting.
It's not as easy as it
Yoni,
should
where
be.
are you?
Once you said the Zoom was going well.
I know it was going really
I'm
well.
fine. I'm the prize.
Wait,
Just a moment.
where are they? Sorry, hold please.
It says Deb, she, Yoni.
Oh, I found it.
It's multiple.
Awesome. You are spotlighted.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that beautiful background.
Thank you. I'd actually designed this background myself. I'm actually an art major at Cal State Long Beach. So yeah, go beach. Slay girl slay. And it's crazy that we met before. So two great people ended up going to the beach. The beach has the wonderful people. Everybody, the beach, I recommend. Apply, maybe get in, hopefully get in. The beach, great people go there. That's my spiel. No, anyway, no, I'm joking. But I have a poem that I wrote for this, amazing event. And for Pride Shabbat, I wrote, "Together we stand." All right. As Jews, we have this saying, Tikkun Olam. It means making the world a better place. And even though I don't personally believe in God, in Judaism, all humans were made in God's image. And it is my strong belief that as a Jewish American, I must make the world a better place. And it is my strong belief that as a queer American, I must make the world a more inclusive space. And it is my strong belief that as an American, I must stand in solidarity with other Americans who are facing struggles within their own communities. If we can stand up to anti-Semitism and homophobia, then we can sure as hell stand up to racism. In a country where freedom reigns, at least it seemed like freedom reigned, and things in this country were just starting to look up just after Corona had taken the world by surprise. We watched as businesses started to flourish, as started opening, and life started to flourish. And then we watched the unthinkable. We witnessed the unspeakable murder of United States citizen George Floyd. Say his name.
George Floyd.
We then watched as our cities burned on fire and our people took to the streets. And I wasn't able to join the protest because I live with my grandmother and family comes first. But I was able to join the fight for freedom in other ways. I could watch YouTube videos where all the ad revenue goes to fundraisers. I was able to post on social media acknowledging the injustice of the criminal justice system, AKA the criminal injustice system. I acknowledge that we can change the world because not being racist isn't enough. You have to be anti-racist and teach your kids, your peers, your friends that kindness matters and that having an open mind matters. Because if we want to change the world, then we have to come together. Because when our own citizens are in trouble, we need to be there for them. We need to listen to them. We need to join them. Because when our citizens can't breathe, there is something very wrong with the system. George Floyd, rest in power and rest in peace. All lives will matter only when Black lives matter. So let's make it happen. In this time, we shouldn't be looking for ways to divide us, but ways to unite us, because we're all in this fight together. Every person, every citizen, every human. Because at the end of the day, we are all just skeletons wearing a skin suit and a mask and a rainbow pride flag. Thank you.
I know you can't hear everyone's applause, Yoni, but Anna and I are just teary-eyed.
I'm crying.
Yoni, as an individual, you have and you do and you will change this world. And we are just so grateful to be on the planet that Yoni Collin inhabited. Thank you for your activism and for your soul and your spirit. It is now my honor to introduce one of my close friends. I should really say someone that inspires me most as it relates to the entire world of Jewish queer activism, Adam Eli. Adam and I met on the first collaboration between JQ and JDC Entwine on the LGBTQ Jewish leadership trip that took us to Argentina and Uruguay, and we debated and we constructed and we broke down, and we had an incredible opportunity to just explore what queer activism means to each of us. Adam is a founder of Voices For, a direct action activist group committed to advancing global queer liberation. He was also named to Out Magazine's 100 Most Influential Queer People of 2018. Adam, I literally screamed when I saw that in my house. This Pride Month event, it coincides with the publication of Adam Eli's first book that Anna is holding up and many of you received today. For those who didn't, we will be mailing them. The New Queer Conscience, in which he offers a candid and compassionate introduction to queer responsibility. Eli calls on his Jewish tradition to underline how kindness and support within the queer community can lead to a stronger global consciousness. Adam, thank you so very much for being with us. How are you this evening?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here. Also, I came in a little bit late because it's a little later here. I'm in New York, but listening to Jordan and Yoni was so beautiful and without a question, the highlight of my day. So thank you both so much for that. And thank you for all the love that you put into organizing this. Arya, it's so wonderful.
Thank you so much, Adam. It's beautiful, especially to reconnect as you are amidst some of your most powerful activism in this moment, and that's both for racial justice and for queer rights. Now, speaking more broadly, acknowledging the political, communal, and interpersonal environment that we're in, I'm curious, sort of, what are the things that are on your mind these days? How are you feeling about the state of the world?
I am feeling exhausted. I'm really tired. But I'm also feeling really hopeful because I do think I can see change happening around me. I can see change happening in the country. In New York, we were protesting today in the streets, and there were so many people, and there were so many different protests, and it wasn't like one cohesive large protest. They were everywhere. And so when you're in the city, you look up into the sky and you see all these different helicopters, and each helicopter is a separate protest that they're monitoring. So I'm feeling exhausted, but I'm also feeling hopeful. I also think that it's really cool that, all the corporate Pride events were canceled because of COVID. However, all of these community Pride events and protest-based Pride events are happening. So we're like knee deep in Pride, very intense Pride Month, doing tons of queer stuff, but completely on our terms. And I think that that's unique and really cool and very different than last year, which was sort of like a corporate, I don't even know what to call Stonewall. You know?
Yeah, you nailed it. Anna and I were actually just sharing recently that Sunday's All Black Lives Matter march that happened in Los Angeles in place of what would be Pride was the first time that Pride felt like what Pride is supposed to be, a march and a protest for freedom and equality and liberation and justice. And that, like you said, without all the corporate mess, blur, if we will, as the word of the evening, we were able to really just stand up for what Pride actually means. Adam, as we honor Juneteenth today, it's only right to discuss Black Lives Matter and the Jewish community's imperative response to uplift and prioritize anti-racism work in all of our communities. JQ is thinking about this daily now. So I want to know, though, your activism, it often lays primarily in queer issues. You've always been an advocate for intersectional activism, such as your incredible support recently of the Black Lives Matter movement, and of course, the protection of Black trans women. Can you share your perspective and thoughts on the importance of fighting for social justice causes beyond your own and the ones that directly impact you?
Yes, absolutely. The first thing I want to ask is, am I a little blurry? Because I feel like, am I a little blurry?
We see you pretty clearly here. I don't know.
Okay, because y'all are a little blurry, which is fine. But if I'm a little blurry, I can. And so, first of all, again, I want to echo what Yoni said, because I think Yoni spoke to a lot of the points that I want to speak to. And I think that there are three, I've organized it in my head into three. I think there are three reasons why it's so important for the people in this Zoom room. Okay, love belong with the blur as a hashtag.
That's coming out this evening and becoming a movement.
Love an organic hashtag. And I think there are three reasons why the people in this room have an imperative to show up. And again, that Yoni touched on many of them. So as queer people, we have an obligation to show, first of all, as queer people, we have an obligation to show up because there are many Black queer people. This is a queer issue. Black people experience police brutality at a higher rate, and trans women experience police brutality at a higher rate, and Black trans women experience police brutality at a higher rate, period. So one, as queers, this directly impacts our community. Two, there are Black Jews and Jews of color. And again, it directly impacts our community, thus obligating us to show up. But I think ultimately bigger picture, and like what Yoni was saying, is that as queer people and as Jewish people, we know what it's like to be persecuted. We know what it is like to have governments openly discriminate against us, have governments officially place our lives lower than everyone else's, or not value our lives at the same level. And something that I've learned recently, which I kind of wish I didn't learn, was that hate does not discriminate. Hate will pretty much glob onto anything that is different or anything that is other. And hate has very, very low standards. And so I guarantee that the cop that is beating up or beating on a Black trans woman is no friend of the queers, even if they're standing at Pride March and keeping their mouth shut. And so I think that it leaves Jews, and especially queer Jews, in a complete and total obligation to show up for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Amen, 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 with a full heart and with strength. Adam, one of the most powerful elements in your book, it's literally the namesake of the piece, is this concept of a new global queer conscience. And it's layered with what seems to be your mantra, that queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere. Can you share about this new conscience that you invite us into in this book, and tell us what you think it means to believe the mantra you put into this world about queer responsibility?
Absolutely. Aria, also I want to thank you for asking me like the most lovely, like detailed, thought-provoking questions, as opposed to being like, so like what inspired? Like, is your activism based in your duties? Like, so thank you for that. And so the new queer conscience is very, very simple. I think, who in this room knows what the phrase Kol Yisrael Avrim Zeh Bazeh means? If you know what it means, just write like I know in the chat. Kol Yisrael Avrim Zeh Bazeh, right? You know, okay. a bunch of people know. They're all coming in. Yes, 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 exactly. So basically, my book is that, Kol Yisrael Avrim Zeh B'Zeh, which means all of the people of Israel or all of the Jewish people are responsible for each other. And my book is simply that, but gayer. It takes that Talmudic principle and asks queer people to show up for each other simply because they are queer. The way I grew up as a Jewish person was that in our DNA, we are obligated to show up for other people. And that is both cultural, in that, like, we often we would give to Jewish charities, we would visit Jewish elder homes, etc. But it's also in the Torah that you're obliged to help other Jewish people. And so it's my dream to create the new queer conscience and to translate that into queerness and queer life and queer culture. And so within the queer community, there are certain things that are established as good and certain things that are established as seen as cool. Like within the queer community, it is totally normal to talk about pop music a lot. It's totally normal to talk about like your favorite diva or drag race. And it's my dream that a fundamental part of being queer means that you're really, 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 really nice to other queer people and you do whatever you can to support them simply because we are queer. And so that is an idea that I hope during the best of times can make our community shine so bright that people will want to join us and support us. And in times of crisis like now, it will act as a safety net, not unlike the JDC does.
Gorgeous. And I mean, ode to JDC, of course, for having brought us together as one of the oldest Jewish institutions that is supporting not only Jewish communities, but all communities in need around the world in over 75 different countries. The Joint Distribution Committee has done indispensable work of certainly ensuring Jewish safety, but expanding the work to be doing the supporting of nonprofits and NGOs all around the planet in communities in need. And it's special to bring their name into this. Andrew, I know you're with us out there and we love you as well.
Also,
I'm gonna move on, Adam, to your, my loves.
Here, so say
I
hi to
love you both. Hello.
There they are.
Yes, Diane, let me see.
I can't
find them, but we love you dearly and thank you for your support of JDC. Yes, Werner. Yes, gorgeous. Hi, Adam's parents.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for being with us. Did you want to share a thought by any chance?
What's that?
Did you want to share a thought with our JQ Pride Shabbat community as we continue Adam's interview?
We just think you guys are the best. This is just, we're schlepping nachas here. You guys are so articulate and special and remarkable, and it does make you wish that more of the world was gay.
I taught them so.
Love you. Love you so much. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for being with us as well.
Our pleasure.
Adam, a couple more questions for you, and then we'll actually take a mega group photo with everyone that's on our Pride Shabbat call.
Great.
You identify very strongly with the intersectionality of both your queer and your Jewish identities. And as we've seen many times, Jewish spaces aren't necessarily welcoming of queer people and vice versa. You know, taking our spirituality or our cultural identities to queer spaces sometimes is not exactly welcome either. Share with us a bit about how you navigate your unique and independently powerful identities, both in your life and your activism.
Okay, again, REA, I think you need a talk show or a podcast. And secondly, this is a really, really good question. I'm really, really glad that you asked it, because my answer is I'm not totally sure how well I actually do that. It's something that I really, really struggle with. And I think that there are many different ways of being a queer Jewish activist. One of the ways which JQ is so brilliantly doing literally right now, REA and N are doing it right now, is creating spaces that are intentionally and uniquely queer and Jewish, like this Zoom room and like this Shabbat experience. There are other activists that go into, like my mother does at Mosaic of Westchester, that goes into Jewish spaces and make them more queer friendly. In order to do that work, you need a lot of patience, which I do not have. And then the last type of activist, I think, is the type of work that I do, which is I try to bring the Jewish world, Jewish people, Jewish principles and ideology and aesthetics to the queer movement at large. And so the truth is that when I enter spaces that are traditionally Jewish, I still very, very often feel triggered and I don't always know what to do. I'm not always super comfortable in those spaces. And I think that I see many budding queer Jewish activists in this room. And I think that it might be worthwhile to think, what type of road do you want to go down on? And no one is more valid than the other. But there are lots of different ways to be a queer Jewish activist. And so I'm not totally sure how great I actually am at doing that. But I am good, I think, at going into spaces that are intentionally queer, like a Gays Against Guns meeting or a queer march organizing meeting, and making sure that Jewish people are represented, that I'm wearing kippah, that et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, barring access to one of your own kippahs, I found one that looked as
Oh my God, I love that. That's
it's
great.
from, I think it's like Ariel Leah Elon's bat mitzvah in 2015. Thank you, Ariel Leah Elon, in absentia.
She has great taste.
But Adam, I do want to mention actually and this is my opinion, but I know that many people share it, that as a representation of what it means to be a progressive, liberal, social activist, Jewish person, so many of us are grateful for the way in which you represent us as queer people and as Jews and as the intersection of those identities in the public sphere. And that takes me to my last question, which is, you've managed to elevate your social media platforms, particularly Instagram, everyone at Adam Eli, spelled how it sounds.
It's in the book.
It's in the book, right? It's in the book, yeah. To an incredible tool for activism. It unifies visual content with social justice and queer issues and inspiring global efforts through founding your organization, Voices For. I'm curious, did you intentionally set out to do this, or is this something that developed over time? And to give the people on this call something to do, what are some of your broadest ranging invitations to action for people who want to step in to either their allyship or being an accomplice when it comes to racial justice or queer rights?
So first of all, thank you so much for the kind words that you led with. That really, really means a lot to me. So I'll answer the first part of the question first, which is, was I intentionally trying to use Instagram as an activist tool? And the truth is that it happened by mistake. And then once I realized that it happened, then it became intentional. So it was a mistake for like 15 hours, back in 2016. And ever since then, it's been very intentional. But basically, after the Pulse Orlando massacre, when 49 people were killed in 2016, I totally freaked out. I did not know what to do. I broadcasted my emotions online because I didn't know what else to do. And I said, if you are sad and upset and you don't want to be alone tonight, you can meet me at this corner at this time. And this was before I had any type of substantial social following or social media experience. And 30 people showed up within 2 hours. And I was like, oh, wow. Like social media can be used as an activating tool to bring people out and together. And so it came to pass that within like 3 days of that moment, I found myself at the first Gays Against Guns meeting. The Gays Against Guns meeting age skewed a little older. So I very, very quickly took on the social media channels. And from then on, it was absolutely my intention. And social media is just communication. And I've always been a good communicator, fingers crossed, through the book. But I would say, I thought you sent me these questions before, again, thank you. And I was really thinking about it. And I think that the best way to jump into this moment and activate in this moment as an ally or as an accomplice, Jordan, love that, is to think about what you do best, what you already know how to do, and what you're probably already doing, and then take that skill and turn the energy elsewhere. So if you're an accountant, I'm 100% sure that these grassroots organizations that are having donations flood in for the first time in their lives need accountants. Arya, you are a natural and clear community organizer, and I'm sure that those are in no short supply. So I think it's about taking what you already know how to do and activating that towards a cause. And also in the book, which I can actually speak to and not like a gross way and like, oh, you should buy the book because like you all have it, is I speak about that extensively. I speak about like approaching groups and being like, hi, this is my name, this is what I can do, how can I help? And then actually really listening to the answer.
Adam, I should name for everyone here that Adam and I had agreed before this call that this would be a beautiful teaser and taste to a, God willing, much greater interaction between one another, both as activists and community organizers. I want to start by thanking Michael and Diane for giving birth to this child, because really, kol hakavod, and thank you with the full heart for giving us Adam, Eli on this earth. Adam, again, your activist. I had heard from someone once in my life that what you know about the impact of your activism is legitimately the tip of the iceberg. And what you won't know even till your dying day is the impact that your activism has had that you will never hear about, never see, and never know. And so I hope you feel the weight and the impact of the incredible movement you've begun. And thank you again for donating all of these books to our Pride Shabbat kids so that we could share them with our JQ community and more broadly. Adam, it's such a pleasure to be with you. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you so much again.
Right, everything you just said, Aria, right back at you and this whole organization. Thank you so much for having me. And let's take that picture because I'm gonna look.
Yes, glam shots. All right, so everyone, if you want to sort of center yourself in your screen, we were planning to do this at the end of the call. We're going to be about 5 to 7 minutes over our schedule. So for anybody that might want a hard stop at 7:30, we wanted to make sure you get in our group shots. We'll take 4 of them because there's 4 full screens of people, but say cheese.
So 1, 2, the first screen's going. So just say cheese until we say stop. So 1, 2, 3, cheese. 1, 2, 3, cheese. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Oh my God. And the last one is half. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, I got those screenshots. We did it.
Wonderful.
And we should bring up this background content.
Yes, please, Anna, take that away.
Well, we meant to mention this earlier, and I've already seen a lot of you have been taking this very seriously, but we have a little contest going. I'm not going to say who they are, but we have 3 secret judges on this call right now that are watching your screens very closely, observing, making sure you have all the colors of the rainbow. And those 3 judges will send us and communicate towards the end of the call who has the best background, Pride themed background. It could be digital, it could be, a real live background, but we will reveal the judges and who the winners are at the end of the call, which will be hopefully sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so moving on with our evening, we have a few more speakers left. I am eager to introduce one of my best friends in my life, Hedia Rezai. Hedia is not only an organizer and an incredible soul, but Hedia is also a queer Iranian activist and social worker who was a part of the very first Persian Pride Fellowship. Hedia, thank you so much for being with us and sharing a bit about your journey.
Thank you so much, Aria. I love you very, very much. So what I wanted to really talk about is the JQ Persian Pride Fellowship. I was part of the first cohort, which a few of us on here have been. And I tell this to Aria all the time, and I probably will try to say this without crying, but it was such a life-changing experience for me as a queer Iranian woman who's been out pretty much more than half of her life. I had always been in different areas within the LGBTQ community where I've been organizing and working for organizations, but I'd never ever had the opportunity to work within an Iranian organization or just be around Iranian queer people. I didn't even know they existed for a good long time. And so being part of this JQ Persian Pride Fellowship was really life-changing because for the first time I was actually able to walk into a room, kind of like what Jordan said, and be loved for all of me. And between, us having panels and doing the first Pride March all together as Iranians and having our retreats, talking about how can we further our community, and supporting those individuals who are not out and who still came and were able to share their stories. It was absolutely one of the best times of my life. I will never forget it, and I'm not gonna cry. But I just want to thank everyone at JQ for making that possible, because for somebody who never thought that this was going to be a thing, for that to happen, it was probably, if I felt like when it was over, I was like, if something happens to me, I'm like, my job in this life was done. Like, this was it. This was such a huge dream for me. So I'm going to stop talking now because I'm getting very, very emotional. But I just have a lot of gratitude for everybody who contributes to the Persian Pride Fellowship and the cohorts that came after us that continue the work, because it is so, so important. And like somebody, earlier said, you never know what a life-changing moment it could be for somebody, and you may not ever know about it, but there are so many moments like that out there, just by you all being present, by contributing, by standing up for injustice. Like, it really truly changes people's lives, whether you see it or not. So thank you all for doing your part.
Edia, I'm sending you a socially distanced and responsible hug. Thank you so very much, not only for your words, but also for being one of the individuals in that first cohort that leaned in and started a whole online series of speaking about Iranian queer identity when no such information existed online or in the public spaces. We love you dearly and are grateful to have you in our community. It is now my honor to introduce Michaela Ivry Mendelson. Michaela has been a longtime friend of JQ as an organization, has spoken on our trans panel. She herself is a businesswoman and trans activist. And this year, our JQ Impact Awards were set to honor Michaela with the Trailblazer Award for all of her incredible work with her organization, TransCan Work, and her contributions to JQ as an organization. Michaela, thank you so much for being with us and with your whole family as well. I think you might be muted.
I unmuted her.
Oh, great.
Oh, I'm trying to unmute her. Why isn't it unmuting you? There you go.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, first I want to introduce my family, who is the most important thing with me today. It's my partner Carmel, our baby Lydia, and our son Isidore. So I want to say, first of all, I'm just so humbled by this amongst a group of such eloquent and meaningful people that have gone here before me. And I feel like I don't have too much more to say that they haven't said already, but I'll do my best and I won't drag it on. I first want to say how much I appreciate Arya and Asher and Anna and all those at JQ International who make JQ such a special place. And I met Arya, I think it was about 4 years ago when you came to speak at our temple, Kol Tikva, and Rabbi John introduced us. And that was a thrilling moment for me. We became instant friends. But I would say that everybody that meets Arya becomes instant friends because he's hard not to be friends with. And then a year later, I got to meet Asher at the Rainbow Key Awards. And just knowing what they do and the conscience with which they bring it forth, and the wonderful ability that we've had to collaborate with them, their support for our cause and the work we do has been really, really a pleasure. I want to say a couple. First of all, I love what the couple on the couch said earlier. I think it was Adam's parents. So I'm thinking of writing a children's book called "If the Whole World Were Gay," but let's see how that goes. Next thing I'll mention. So this, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what Black Lives Matter and what's going on in the world today. And it's such an important topic for the work I do with helping people of trans and non-binary people of color get back on their feet economically. But and even before the pandemic, women of color were 7 times more likely to be living in poverty, under $10,000 a year. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like coming out of the pandemic. So all I could say is the Jewish soul is hopeful. I feel that, when you go back through our history, there's been so much, pain and suffering within our own community. But I think it's been our hopefulness and our depth of our soul that has kept the Jewish, Judaism alive and thriving today. And I think that's really important to me. I tell you, when the George Floyd thing happened and all the protests and all the discussions were going on, I started doing my own soul searching, and I talked to my therapist about it, and I said, I do what I do because I realize that I have privilege, and I feel a responsibility to help others. And she promptly said back to me that, well, that's Judaism, that's the Jewish soul. That is how we come into this world, with that sense of wanting to correct wrong and to bring justice to places where it's needed. I want to say that I believe in that soulfulness. There's also a deep spirituality to it. And one of the quotes that I'll end with here that expresses how I feel spiritually about all races and all religions and all ethnicities was really said very eloquently and wisely by Martin Luther King, when he said, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly." I really feel that we're all connected. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Michaela, thank you again, not only for your collaborations and involvement with JQ as an organization, but for having established the organization TransCan Work, affirming the lives and identities and rights in the workplace of trans women, and in particular trans women of color. It's that much more poignant now to see the success of your organization come to life. And we're so grateful to have you in our community. So, y'all, this has been quite fabulous, but I don't know if anyone is prepared or ready for the level of fabulosity that is going to hit your screens momentarily. The person that I'm going to introduce is, quite frankly, the most fabulous person on planet Earth. An individual that also participated in the Persian Pride Fellowship, but far greater than anything related to JQ, has been a Jewish, queer, and drag activist that has made the echoes of Her Royal Highness around the globe. Everyone, please help me welcoming the one and only Empress to the stage.
Hi.
Hello, dear.
Sorry, I'm like 3 glasses of wine in. It is Shabbat and it is Pride, so a girl got to get a drink in. First, I just want to acknowledge and ask everybody, is my outfit okay with all of you? I had to take one glove off because I couldn't. Let's have a look. Is this good?
Yes.
And that's the back.
We approve.
All right, I wrote a whole long thing, but I'm not going to read all of it because time, we'll be here all night. You know, I can get a little wordy, but I'll just introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am the Empress, pronouns Her Royal Highness or Her Majesty. I'd like to start off by saying that this is the 3rd JQ Pride Shabbat that I've had the honor of being a part of. With each passing year, my connection to JQ as an organization gets stronger and stronger. I'm sure many of you have heard my story before several times, so I'm not going to get too into it. Basically, nice Persian Jewish boy gone wrong becomes drag queen to the dismay of his Iranian Jewish family, says screw you to the Jewish community, blah, blah, blah. But if you know my story, you also know that just a few years ago, I connected with and befriended Arya, who brought me back into the folds of my Iranianness and my Jewishness by way of the work that JQ does, specifically the efforts put forth by the Persian Pride Fellowship. Being an Iranian Jewish queer gender nonconformist can be very challenging. It is a culture which puts a lot of stock into class systems, gender roles, and reputation. And being a drag queen is considered a low-class thing to be and a stain on any family's reputation. There are societal rules in place which I have broken by choosing to live life as my authentic self. And because of this, I didn't feel a sense of belonging in the community from which I come from. When JQ's Persian Pride Fellowship began in 2018, I was honored to be a part of the first cohort. And what we began to see was a community of queer Iranians and Iranian Jews where there literally was not one. JQ did that. We are now in our third cohort of the Persian Pride Fellowship, and I'm watching this beautiful community of queer Iranians and queer Iranian Jews grow. And I can honestly say I have never been prouder than I am now of being queer and Iranian and a Jew. I finally feel like I have a place within the community that I come from, and it's all thanks to JQ and the work that Arya has done. So let's clap it up, albeit silently on Zoom, for JQ. I'm presuming you're all clapping right now. I hope you are. With that said, I'm just going to finish off by saying happy Pride. Everybody keep being visible and being yourselves and showing yourselves, because visibility is the key to winning our fight to all of this. So raise a glass, l'chaim, happy Pride, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, JQ International.
L'chaim, l'chaim, cheers. Empress, you never cease to impress, not only with fashion, grace, and elegance, but also with your beautiful heart and soul. We love you and are so grateful to call you JQ's resident drag queen. I'm going to pass the floor to my, again, incredibly creative colleague, Anna Goodman, who's going to help us as we close this evening.
Oh boy, I'm working, but also a few glasses in as well. That's allowed here, so I'm grateful for this job. Anyway, it's now time to announce the winners of the screen background contest. I'm actually going to call on each of our secret judges and spotlight them to announce the winner, and then I will hopefully spotlight the winner. So please be ready to be possibly shown on the screen. And all of our winners will be receiving, I'm actually wearing one right now, a JQ t-shirt.
Yeah.
So we will make sure we're in contact with you so you can receive your very own JQ t-shirt. And thank you everyone for all the beautiful rainbow backgrounds. I'm gonna pass it off to Deb, also side note, all of the judges are on our board of governors. So thank you to our board of governors for choosing the winners. Deb, who is your winner tonight? Let's make sure you're unmuted first.
Well, I can't choose Yoni's artwork because that would be nepotism. And I can't choose Arya's shirt because
you
Todd
gave it to me
and then I gave it to you. So I'm gonna choose Lindsay because Lindsay and whoever is sitting with Lindsay, who I'm not sure, is also wearing, they're both wearing Pride shirts and they have a flag in the background.
Wait, let me pull up Lindsay, who also used to be in the Team JQSA. Good to see you, Lindsay. Congratulations.
Oh, Lindsay,
Hi.
Hi.
This is my mom.
Met you all a long time ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We tried.
We will try. Yeah. Thank you, Deb. I'm going to pass it off next to our other board member. It's going to be Mare. Mare, do you have a winner? Wait 1 second. This is the most zoom in I've done. All right, Mare, are you ready? Oh, wait. Okay, now you're unmuted.
Oh, I feel like I'm about to announce the points at Eurovision. Yes, I have a winner. Let me see. So the winner that I'm choosing is Deborah Miller. I love how you've decorated your garden with a beautiful background and these beautiful umbrellas. So you are my winner.
Deborah, congratulations. Is she listening?
Call her name again. I think she hears.
Deborah.
Deborah, you are a winner. Deborah. I think she's having a great chat with her family.
Deborah, yes,
Yes,
you're the winner.
You have won a JQ t-shirt.
You and your beautiful rainbow umbrella background.
They're muted.
Okay.
Well,
Congratulations.
Pride Shabbat Shalom and Juneteenth Sameach, everyone. We will be contacting you to share JQ t-shirts with those of you.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes,
Are we
thank
talking?
you.
Is it
All
really
right.
this, Deborah? Are we? Okay.
Congratulations.
We'll send 3 your way. Shabbat Shalom.
And the last person to announce is our other board member, Max Landworth. Max, are you ready to announce your winner? Wait. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Who is the third and final winner?
My choice was Alicia Petowitz.
She's off the call, I believe.
No!
Should we send her one anyway, or should we pick someone else who's on the call?
Well, we'll send her one.
It was awesome because she had her whole family on. She had her whole family on, and they decorated the whole thing.
It was beautiful.
We will send them a shirt. How about someone who's on the call, Max?
Okay. Kelly G.
Kelly G.
Kelly G, we're looking for you
With
to
their
get a
flags.
quick spotlight.
I don't see their name. Kelly with the Kelly G. Raise your hand, Kelly G. I don't see Kelly G.
Yeah.
Is it with a K?
Maybe also left the call at this point. Anyone else?
Yeah, my third one, and I have no choice in this, but I'm gonna have to go with this beautiful rainbow sign that says Shabbat Pride. So I'm gonna go with Almog.
Yeah.
Very
nice. Gorgeous.
Congratulations.
Shabbat
Thank you. We're very proud of this pride.
I have to give credit to Jess.
It's gorgeous. Thank you both. We will reach out for your information and follow up to get you t-shirts. And do you want to hit us with a couple of our upcoming events before I close this out?
Yes, I will bring it back to me. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I just want to remind everyone of some upcoming events. We have a full list of Pride activities, virtual, of course, happening. You can go to our website, which I will share after I'm done talking, to see all of them and click on them. But our next event is our non-binary New Moon Circle in partnership with New Roots. Chelsea Snyder is also on this call, or was on this call, who's been organizing it. And it's our first ever non-binary, agender, queer specific event. We're very excited for that. Thank you, Chelsea. That is on June 24th on Wednesday evening. We also have our Queer Sunday screening series brought to you by another board member, Todd Schatz, and that is for the film A Secret Love on Netflix. If you haven't
love
seen
you, Todd.
it's the beautiful relationship of two women that started in the 1940s and kept it a secret for years and years until a few years ago. And you can watch that now on Netflix, and we'll be meeting and chatting with some of the subjects from the film on June 30th. Sunday, 5:30 p.m. And then last but not least, we have our Teen JQSA event happening on June
30th.
That one's June 30th. The other one's June 28th. Queer Sunday screening is June 28th. And then the Teen JQSA is a Pride Talent Show, Teen JQSA Pride Talent Show on June 30th. So if you are a teen between the ages of 12 and 18 and you have a talent, please come sign on and share your creativity, express who you are, and let's celebrate Pride. So that's coming up. I think I'll post the link to our events so you can RSVP and register.
You're muted. You've muted yourself.
I got you. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that was great because it gave me practice round. Everyone, thank you so much. Wherever you are in the world, we are so grateful that you chose to join us tonight for JQ's Pride Shabbat and commemoration of Juneteenth and Black Lives Matter. We are so eager to send a follow-up email that will just invite you all into our community. And we're grateful for the diversity of voices, all of the speakers that made tonight possible. You are JQ, you are the J community, and you are the reason why we get to be the organization that we are today. We want to thank our board members, our professional team, and everyone else. And of course, invite those that find it meaningful to please consider making a contribution to our organization. In these especially difficult times, it would be incredible to have anyone's support to make sure that JQ can continue and expand our programs and services. Thank you again for being with us. Shabbat Shalom, Juneteenth Sameach, and we are sending you so much love. Get in this screen, Anna.
We're germ bonded. Thank you, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy
Shabbat
your
Shalom.
challah and your grape juice and everything.
Thank you so much again for
Yes.
being with us. We can unmute everyone.
And don't forget to tag, if you post photos of your
Yes.
Pride Shabbat kits, tag us, tag Challah Hub, tag One Table, spread the love. So many of you already have already, and we're truly grateful for the support and awareness. Oh yeah, we have our little.
And we're so happy that this went great.
Yay!
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
Shalom.
We love you dearly. Thank you again for being with us.
And
we will see you all on the flip side.
Yes, I think it was.
Great job, Arya and Anna.
If anybody else wants to unmute just to say something, we're going to sign off at 7:50. So we've got 3 minutes of breather.
I can unmute everyone all at once. It's gonna
Dance
be
party? Dance party.
Dance party.
Party.
Dance party. Who's got the tunes? Should I open? Wait.
Oh.
Give me a song. Give me a song.
Oh, we do need a song.
It's trending on TikTok right now.
Where's Amanda?
Asher, love your t-shirt.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to record the screens.
Oh, Francis, I love your background. Fight against racism. I wish. I want.
Say hi to the screen. You're being recorded.
Yes.
Oh, Andrea, I'm meeting Kevin.
Deb.
Okay, we're gonna hang up on everyone now.
Give him like a minute. Just a 7.
Thank you, Anna.
Tough to leave.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all
That
so
was
much.
great. We did
Empress.
Hi, baby.
I love you guys so much. You don't even know. Thank you.
You are like the royal everything.
You're the royal everything. That's the way to put it. The
I
royal.
love that. The royal everything. I'll take it. Next time I'll make sure I have my crown on and we're good to go.
Maybe it's like instead of Her Royal Highness, it's Her Royal Everything every time. HRE.
Seriously, I love you guys. This was amazing. Truly amazing.
So beautiful.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom. Andrea.
Bye.
Look at Oogie. Bye, Deb and Yoni and Sandy.
Yoni, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.